Hey guys, in this video I want to share with you how to hack life. Now, in life, it would make logical sense to see things and then test them out, and if things aren't working, realize, hey, maybe this isn't working, and test out your assumptions to see what the truth is. But the crazy thing is, humans don't work like that, and I'm not just pointing to other people. I've done this myself. I've been the culprit of this. You know, there were times in my life, and maybe this happened to you as well, where things were not working out. But rather than trying to figure out how you can better these things, you just get stuck in a rut. You just assume, okay, well, that's it. That's all I can be done. This really sucks. In reality, you really have to test, and this has happened in numerous areas of my domain. For instance, dating. How many people in the dating realm just assume, well, this is just my luck, this is how it is, and I'm screwed. This is all that can be done, and nothing else can be done to fix this. Well, what about careers? Careers work in the same way. The job process is very similar. Rather than testing different things and figuring out what else is out there, we just fall into our failed assumptions about the world and just assume that this is how it is. Oh, the job market sucks. That's probably why I'm not getting jobs. Rather than trying out new things. So how can you hack life? How can you actually start doing things right? Well, this is literally what science is about. It's about a very systematic way of testing our assumptions about the world and seeing what is actually true based off the results of numerous experiments rather than just our beliefs. And it blows my mind how every day people die with these failed assumptions that they have held for their entire life. So let me give you a quick example of this. Let's think of that person who they just assume that, okay, there's nothing that I can do to ever improve with ladies. This failed assumption, where does it come from? Who knows? Maybe it's just their natural tendency. A lot of people assume this. But then, what does the smart person do? The smart person starts testing different things, figuring things out. And what's crazy is I've seen people in the dating universe who are like dating coaches and stuff. Even though they would test, they would hit a point where they're kind of stuck in their ways as well. It's kind of strange how that works. Where they say they're testing, but it's really just this like stuck regimen. And so I think it's incredibly funny, and maybe you're not into dating. There's numerous areas where you can use this yourself. Social skills is another one. A lot of people, they assume, well, that's just me, you know, I can't really do anything. I just am not good with meeting people, and that's it. However, and arguably, this is really credited to the internet because I would say a lot of people, Conan O'Brien has voiced this as well in her interview with Miranda Kerr a few years ago. They were just never told, they were never given that idea or possibility, so they just assume things. But with the internet, we are blessed to have these new perspectives. Maybe it's not like that. So for instance, with social skills, which is incredibly useful in developing friendships, becoming likable, creating community bonds to help your employees, to help your company, to help everything else, networking, all sorts of stuff, speaking, leadership. Social skills is one of those elements that can be developed and grown with testing and experimentation. For instance, the average person, they'll go to a social interaction and they'll be like, well, this sucks. I suck at it. Whereas someone who is a little bit more savvy will be like, okay, that didn't really work when I just stood there like a wallflower. How about next time I test something else? Maybe I go in with a smile and I introduce myself and I say hi. And I've tested this myself, and depending on the environment, you know, there's usually still some like people who are just like, okay. So then from there, what I did was, okay, maybe I need to say something rather than just say hi and stand there like a robot waiting for them to respond. So now I'll be like, Hi, my name's Will. I really like your quote today. I lead with a compliment, which a lot of people enjoy. And then I go into a question about them. So what brings you here tonight? And that obviously shows a little bit more social intelligence and moves you on the ladder. Now, is there certain levels of unluckiness out there? Perhaps, for me, I completely sucked. And I saw people who were exceptionally good looking, very popular, had it all, and they were constantly invited to all these parties and all this stuff, and it seemed like they were having the best of times, whereas me, complete opposite. But what I've realized though is, first off, jealousy doesn't lead to anything but toxicity in your own life. More so than that, I have really started developing my own skills and been really proud of that because I earned it myself, and I'm seeing slight increases in my results over time. Now, I still have a lot of work to do on this, but let me just share with you that this is to bring back the general point, the main purpose of this video, which is that you can't just be one of those lopsided people who do not experiment. Now, the final piece of life hacking advice I want to give to you guys is this whole idea of using large data sets of sampling and experience and experimentation. Would you rather listen to the guy who has a small sample size of 10 people he's tested something on, or someone who has tested something on 500,000 people to 10 million people? Probably the latter, right? And if you've ever taken a statistics class, you know the errors of a small sampling size. You know the dangers of that. If you don't, pretty much, if you only tested on a few people, you can get a very skewed perspective on what's actually true out there. So how can you use this larger sample size? Well, that's the greatness of finding the best in the field at this and studying them. Now, I don't mean naturals, although naturals are usually better. And by naturals, I mean people who are, 20 years of age, haven't really tested it on that many individuals, but they're doing really well. Now, that's probably better than asking the average Joe, but another incredible way of doing this is to finding the best in the field and learning from them. So one way of doing that out of the many are books. Another is the internet. I prefer books because they're usually much more credible, and when you have a really good book, and I highly recommend really screening the book, because again, there's a lot of advice books written by people who have no credibility. So one great book, for instance, is Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi, or How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, these are talked about a lot in Myspace. However, I really think that they are incredibly useful books because they are timeless and important. Now, I always went in with a skeptical eye when I read, but I actually went through both of these books and I was really blown away by the points that were made. And another huge fallacy I see is that people will skim a book and say, oh, this is common sense. And when you quiz them on the book, they can't remember a darn thing because they didn't actually read the book. Don't be like these people. These actual books are really valuable. I highly suggest you take notes and use these points because they are incredible. They're timeless. They've been practiced on tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people with positive results. And on top of all this, these are things that are written by some of the most credible people in the industry. So check them out for yourself. I really do think they're of great value. And I'll leave all the links to the books and everything below this video. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.